I am a big fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog series. Like a lot of people, I narrowed down to the two classic Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons, though because I think the rest of the Sega had spawned was rat crap, each of their own. I was browsing eBay the other day and I wondered if there would be any items about my favorite character from the series, Sally Acorn. Indeed, what I found was a plushie that was manufactured in Sega World of Sydney, which closed down due to the lack of visitors in 2006. Those Sally plushies were very rare, but I didn't have the money to buy her, and my parents would despise me for it. I examined the plushie for a while. The article came with pictures. This Sally even had her jacket on, and on it was written in permanent marker God. I don't really know what it meant. Probably the initials of the child owning her before they sold her. I clicked on the back button to return to this Sonic Sally search, knowing I wouldn't win the auction anyway. Only to find another article had posted Sonic SatAM cartoon all episodes, with the price of $1 on instant buy. SatAM DVDs were never released where I came from, but so I was happy as I was. I wanted to rewatch the show and check out the article. It had no description, no address where it came from. Germany, Canada, etc. It was missing, and the shipping price was as stated to be free. I looked up with the photo of the article and it was a blank CD. I have decided to buy it anyway, not just for the nostalgia, but for the writing was great and I loved Robotnik in this series. Well, it all started when the mail arrived. It arrived the next morning. Oddly, it was Sunday, and I was happy to receive the episodes and immediately put the blank CD into my laptop. Starting the DVD, sadly, the DVD didn't start, but it offered me to show me the files, so I opened the folder and saw a Sally.EXE application. I was confused at it being .exe, but I started it anyway, and indeed, it was playing the SatAM episode. The episode hooked on Sonic's began, and the episode started out all normal, along with the intro, no blood or anything. But with that said, the thing was really my computer blue screened at the kissing scene of Sonic and Sally started. When Sally walks over to Sonic and kisses his cheek, he calls her kissing not so good and grants her a better one. And it was so cute too. The computer rebooted, and I took out the CD as I thought it malfunctioned and threw it away. I could have asked the person to give me the money back, but he can keep the $1 I gave him. I mean, it's just $1. I continued to normally browse the internet, speak to friends on Skype and all. Nothing was wrong until when I was watching a random YouTube video. My cursor, the white arrow in case you didn't know, started to completely spaz out. I disconnected my mouse, but the cursor continued to flash all around the screen. I even deactivated my touchpad and continued it. It suddenly came to a stop and I carried on, ignoring what had happened. Soon I found myself downloading a ROM for Sonic the Hedgehog fun game. As it had downloaded, I started up my emulator and began the game in windowed mode. But oddly, the complete screen went black and I shrugged it off and just waited for the game to start. The familiar Sega jingle didn't sound. Well, it did, but it was slowed down so much that it sounded demonic, and it gave me a cringe. The background remained black and Sonic didn't run past the logo. It faded to black and some text appeared. At first I thought it was just a red font, but it looked like it was scratched into my computer screen. Up for round 2? I blinked and flinched as the main screen came on. The sky was a dark gray, and the clouds looked so dull and black, like right before a thunderstorm. The mountains were decayed, and so was the logo. It even looked partially rusted. I was amazed at the pixely detail, but what also scared me was Sega 1991 was now replaced with Sega 666, and the water was a bloody red. The familiar music wasn't played either. It was just a 16-bit mess of sounds and the demonic Sega occasionally mixed in. Instead of Sonic showing up, 2 of the characters appeared next to the logo, Tails and Knuckles. The sight of them terrified me even more. Tails' eyes were even black and they were bleeding. His fur had become dull gray black as well, as he had an expression of anguish on his face. Knuckles looked far worse. His red fur had darkened to a reddish gray. His dreadlocks were also dripping blood, and his eyes were black and bleeding like tails, and he also had a look of sadness on his face. Just then I noticed a new character popped out of the middle of the logo. A pink, bubbly little hedgehog poked her head out. At first she was smiling, but then frowned at what was around her. She looked a bit confused and nervous, like she didn't really know what was going on. Amy Rose? I thought. What is this all about? Curiosity drove me to press enter. A short yet loud static noise sounded when the screen faded. I wish I hadn't done so. Kyle didn't want to play with me. The writing appeared again. What a shame. But I can play with you, right? The demonic Sega jingle sounded again for a split second. An image flashed and it disappeared too fast, so I didn't make it out. But I could swear I saw red and black Sonic with black and red eyes. Almost felt them pierce through me, and that moment made me jump. It didn't begin a Green Hill Zone Act 1 though. I wish it did. Instead, the title card read Not Perfect Act 1. The game began and the ground looked normal, Green Hill Zone, but with the background was pitch black. Amy stood normally where Sonic would be in the original game. Surprisingly, that was a well-made sprite. It wasn't clear classic self, but her current self, it looked official. Even on the opposing side of the screen where Amy was at, there was a large silver ring. In front of the ring stood a sprite of Sonic with a smile on his face. The animation of Amy standing there was that she stared forward with a lovely-dovely expressions as the hearts came to her head, and there, I guess I should head Sonic. I thought as I moved Amy towards Sonic, but Sonic ran away and jumped into the ring. I made Amy leap right in for him. The level teleported to one of those stages where you can get the Chaos Emerald. The background was a pink with hearts all over. It looked cute, but I was distracted by only having 4 red-white colored spears to jump on, and I have tried to balance Amy on top of it as she desperately tried to keep onto the spears. But my controls slipped and Amy fell. I fell into that wall of gold spears. Just as I thought I teleported back, a loud shriek sounded and the image of this demonic Sonic continued to flash over the screen. The screen completely spazzed out and I heard shrieks. Loud shrieks from what I could swear it was Amy Rose herself. I kept hearing "no, no" and loud cries of agony and pain, which abruptly ended with more statics for a split moment before the screen cut to black. Soon the title screen appeared again, and Knuckles and Tails were missing, but instead Amy appeared. She was just smiling as her cute usual smile, but her body had holes, not bleeding holes or bullet holes, just holes that pierced her body all over. Her colors even faded to a dull black and white. Even her eyes looked oddly disfigured. This scared me so much my entire body began to itch. I scratched myself all over as I watched a new character appear. I frowned upon seeing Cream, who had a sheer terrified expression and huddled on against the logo for comfort. Poor Cream. I wanted to quit the game, but as if I forced, I hit the start again and the screen faded. Kind and Fair Act 1. The stage was now blank now, and the background music was a drowned sounding slower version of Green Hill Zone. It nearly made me gag, but something forced me to play. The stage began, and Cream's sprite was like Amy's, very well done. The environment was childish. It looked like a cute cutout in front of Cream was like the TV box that gave you higher speed. I made Cream crouch down and do a spin dash, and I dashed ahead, crashed in the box. The level didn't change, and the ground was solid platform. It didn't seem that Cream was going faster, and faster until she crashed into more boxes and more and more. I noticed the music got completely out of sync, which scared me suddenly. Cream crashed into a wall of spikes. A loud splat was heard, which I didn't even sound like it would be belonging to a 16-bit game. Poor Cream was torn to shreds. Blood dripped from the spikes and bloodied rabbit was on the background, slowly began to melt in front of my eyes. The image flashed again, and so did the title screen. As I expected, I was back on the title screen with Cream appeared with Amy. She did not look, she looked scared, but her eye was, how do I put it, droopy and dead and bled to a black goo. Her ears were over her face now, were at the back of her head. Her color scheme seemed to change from brown to orange to a very, very dark purple and red. Her dress was a dull gray. For the third character, and God, I did want to cry and weep when I saw Sally Acorn pop out of that goddamn logo, putting on her innocent smile as she waved towards me, like she didn't know what torture would happen to her. The game was so terrifying and yet so fascinating, but I wanted to stop real bad, but my hand wouldn't budge. I even started shaking and I wanted to reach for the power button, turn off that darn thing, but my hand just wouldn't move, and before I knew it, I had already hit start and the screen faded. Act 9, it said. A sad, dull melody played in the background as the silhouette of the ground and the sprite silhouette that resembled Sally appeared in front of the background that consisted of the whole group. Amy, Cream, Knuckles, Tails, and Robotnik appeared, all with their torture forms and saddened expression. It also had Sonic, but in a nearly unrecognizable way. He had a wide grin on his face with razor-sharp teeth. He had black eyes with red dots as pupils, to which they were bleeding, which it looked like it would reach out at the silhouette in front of him. I tried to move Sally to get her out of there, but each wall wouldn't budge and Sally would do a pushing animation. I stopped in the middle, and as to my horror, the stage began to shrink, and the black started to close on Sally. I tried moving her again, but the walls wouldn't budge or move. I walked Sally back to the middle as the walls closed in on her. She crouched down before she completely disappeared into the black. The red writing appeared on the screen again. It was only dripping like blood, and it was crooked with Sonic, my love. Suddenly a familiar scene faded in. I recognized it immediately. Sonic's Sad AM was playing where the CD had cut off. It was a reddish shade and Sonic had these black bleeding demonic eyes. Sally looked even worse. At least to me, her eyes were missing. It was like they were taken out and Sally's skull was sewn closed together. Blood was running down from her wound and it didn't look photoshopped. It was actually animated. Sonic pulled Sally over like in the show, only tentacle-like things burst out from their mouths and locked, making disgusting slurping noises as I could see a bum bulge in Sally's throat. The worst thing was that they even looked like they were enjoying it. And for a moment, I think I was too. I could see the corrupted Tails and Knuckles in the background. To Sonic pulled away. So, not bad? Sally simply replied. I gagged and looked away from the screen. Out of the corner, I noticed something on my bed. On my bed was a Sally doll I saw on eBay, with its eyes missing.
What's up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen here. I want to appreciate you all for tuning into this video, and I do appreciate you guys supporting my video by giving this video likes and stuff. If you really enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new, ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will get updated for whenever I upload. If you want to follow me on Twitter or DeviantArt, feel free to leave a follow on those if you are interested in following me on those socials. If you want to support my backup channel, known as Ms. Dark Shigo, feel free to subscribe to it, as a link to that will also be in the About page section. And with that being said, and that being the case, thank you so much for watching, my pretties, and as always, please stay pretty.